Okay, what we got from the Score Esports? We got burning millions to trying to save esports. Oh boy, good luck with that, buddy.
Three champions from spring, raising two phenomenal young stars. Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions.
Bro, that's crazy. League of Legends is still kicking as hard as it is. This is absolutely crazy.
Toast was a streamer with a dream. He wanted to stand on the biggest stages in.
Bro, like, what's bigger? Is it Counter-Strike or League of Legends? I have no idea because I don't know, like, the player base of League of Legends. Like, I can look up Counter-Strike and be like, yeah, there's like 1 million people on, like, right now. But, like, I don't know how many people are on, like, League of Legends, right? It just doesn't post their numbers up, like, publicly or whatever.
In the world.
I was watching every game, pretty much watched every scrim practice trials they had, just following along.
I think this guy's joining the league is very healthy for the league, and I think it's very helpful for people who kind of lost hope.
But he did something no one expected. He rolled into a scene full of former champions and proven talent, and he won the whole thing.
But here it goes, the engage. Sardi is low, Fingon jumps in.
Good for Toast.
For Smoothie. Smoothie is the first one to fall. And Burst of On goes in. Sardi falls. And TSG. History in the making.
But getting there wasn't easy. Just winning wasn't enough. Everybody in esports is struggling, and even trying to compete can cost millions of dollars.
We are in definitely a rough period. You could call it.
Yeah, you in a rough period. I mean, we're on the come down of the pandemic when in like 2020, everybody was inside, so they had nothing else to do besides play video games. But lo and behold, that would not withstand the test of time. And so as people are allowed outside their houses, more and more people are choosing to, you know, not completely abandon video games, but like it's not as important anymore for their entertainment. So people are just not on as much.
Esports winter.
I thought about it. I kind of toyed with the idea, but I was like, yeah, it's a money pit. There's no lying. Like, I've definitely thought, like, is it even worth being in it?
It's just the reality.
Probably, I don't know. It's hard to say yes and no whether or not it's like worth it to be in it. I mean, yeah, like you get your brand out there for like this guy Toast and Ludwig and Charlie and like the whole thing. It keeps your brand relevant. It keeps the org relevant, but I don't know. I'd probably say on like net gross overall, whatever. Probably, yeah, but it's only going to be like what, like a gain of like 1%, 0.5%, or something like that, because it's super hard to make money in esports as like an organization or whatever, because just the value of like an esport, of your average esport watcher, is like close to zero almost. Like your average esport watcher is not out there compared to like a football player or football, like NFL watcher, enjoyer. An esport player or an esport watcher is not out there buying merch. Maybe they'll buy tickets for like their favorite like LAN or world tournament, maybe, but that's contextualized around what country, what city they're in. You know, you got the NFL special tickets where it's like the season long tickets for your favorite team, and you yourself are willing to go travel with your team to go see every little game or whatever. You know, a regular esport person watcher is not going to go buy like a season ticket, because number one, that's not even a thing in like real esports for like any game. And they're just not buying as much merch as the NFL watcher. They're just not. And also, if they do buy merch, it has to be specifically towards like for the support of that organization, because if they buy some sort of merch that supports the game, it goes to the developer. It doesn't go to the org.
Sports don't make money, so it's just nothing but stress and hope and pain.
Mad Lions, hold on, and the dream for Disguised is over.
Esports is changing. Streamers are going to
I gotta commend Toast on that damn logo of being like the MS Paint logo of just DSG. God damn. Bro, imagine if there was like an NFL team or an NBA team where their logo looked like somebody just did a little doodle in paint. But that same team was like competing against like the Patriots, the Chiefs. What's a good football or basketball team? I don't know, the Lakers, the Steph Curry team or whatever. Imagine the MS Paint team going against all of those like professional level teams. Like, as a fan, you would just be like, what is happening? What is this new team? Why does their logo look like it was made in MS Paint? You know, because like the only reason like he can get away with it is because like the average age of the audience is lower than someone in like conventional stick and ball sports. Like your average age of like an NFL watcher is like 30, 40, 50, cheering on their favorite team. Like, oh, this year the Giants will make it. Oh, no.
to be a big part of its future. But can your favorite creators really save esports?
Probably not. Bro, who is this one supposed to be? I know that's Toast, Ludwig, and I'm sorry, I don't know who this person is. Kind of looks like Shroud with glasses, but I don't know.
Over the past few years, there have been a slew of streamers creating orgs and starting their own teams. In Europe, huge orgs like Carmine Corp and Movie Star Koi got started thanks to massive streamers and influencers. And these days, they can sell out stadiums all on their own.
And this is cool. This is absolutely cool seeing like this gigantic... This is like crazy because the amount of, I don't know, participation and crowd shit that's going on compared to like, obviously I don't know what like game this is for or whatever. But like you compare like this crowd to like a Super Bowl crowd or like the basketball championship level crowd. Like the participation is just night and day. Like since the average age like trends older in the stick and ball sports, you ain't gonna get those motherfuckers up to do like some random ass choreography or like the wave or whatever, or like flip a sign for like some colors and then you zoom out and then it's like, oh, it's a picture, oh cool. Well, yeah, there was like that one time that like Michael Jackson did the halftime show and they were able to do it for like the halftime show with those guys, but like, hey, good luck getting people to participate now. Good luck. But like you see like a video game crowd for like some tournament and it's like the level of choreography, it's like, it's not that bad. It's pretty cool.
But building a fan base like that isn't easy or cheap. And neither is getting into the biggest leagues in the world. And worse still, streamer-owned or otherwise, esports orgs around the world are finding the path to profitability is very, very complicated.
Yeah.
We are in definitely a rough period. You could call it esports winter economically.
He's like, this dude is chilling. I thought he was like actually gaming. This is like maximum chilling mode.
Speaking, it's definitely difficult right now in gaming in general. In addition to that, there's so many other problems like over those years where a lot of the orgs brought in VC money and
what the heck is VC? I don't know what VC money is. But one big criticism of like esports and developers is that like the developers always want the money and don't want to give any money to the orgs for anything. They don't want to do a revenue split. They don't want to do like a scalable, some sort of deal with like if they sell skins, they just want to give the org a flat amount and they don't want to give them like an amount that scales or anything like that. It's just the developers. That is one of the overarching themes I see with a lot of like esports and developers. It's always the developers are like their own speed bump.
industry wasn't profitable during those times. The orgs ended up paying the players too much money, and now these VC firms that own portions of the company, they want their dime back. And companies like Riot are working extensively to try to band-aid and fix.
Understandably, like you just heard, the players are getting paid too much money. Bro, if you're one of those players, hey, you are petitioning every petition to make that number go up. That is you are doing your utmost to, give, what do you call it? You're trying to, you're advocating for yourself. All right. That's what you should be doing. You should be advocating for yourself.
These solutions, which is why you see the classics in the game. The marketing that Riot did over VCT really impressed me. They would actively advertise.
Oh, this is actually, I had no idea. They get a little 100 Thieves gun. Rep 100 Thieves, blah, blah, blah. In stores now. And this looks like a Valorant gun. So what was this, like $30 or something? I'm just guessing.
For the teams. From a developer point of view, I think they did better than any developer has ever done.
When esports was younger, many of the biggest teams were operating thanks to outside investment from venture capital funds. The teams drew in millions.
Oh, that's what VC stands for, probably. VC funds, venture capitalists. Okay, so random angel investor bro that likes video games and wants to see esports continue. Okay. Cloud9 esports team closes Series A funding. Investors include Joe Montana, Alexis Ohanian. Include Joe Montana. Isn't that a football player, bro?
Millions of dollars, player salaries grew, and esports exploded across North America as it set down deep roots all around the world. But generally speaking, these VC funds weren't giving away their money for free.
Yeah.
They wanted to see a return on their investment.
Yep.
And over the last 5 years, everyone has realized the hard truth. Your favorite team is probably losing money. And like Sean Gare said, the VC funds wanted to start making money off the space too. And when that didn't happen, the money dried up. And without funding, it's hard to pay staff, players, and well, have a team in general. For a little while, crypto companies looked like they might.
You guys remember this meme? The Sam Bankman-Fried meme? FTX TSM. Oh, this was hilarious, dude. Oh my God. Bro, when Sam Bankman-Fried got that one day, everybody was losing their shit. Every TSM person chilling for their own little team for their game. I was just like, oh, you guys better take that FTX off. It's got to look a little bad.
be a silver bullet for esports orgs. But one of the biggest deals, hundreds of millions in promised money from FTX to Riot Games and TSM, fell apart when FTX dissolved amid scandal and fraud. And these days, there's no two ways about it. The industry is shrinking.
The last 6 months of 2023, this past year, was probably the hardest 6 months that I've ever had.
Ooh.
We went through 3 rounds of layoffs in a year and a half. I just needed to sit back and step away so that I could be on the outside looking in again and be a fan of 100 Thieves.
The financial problems facing esports organizations are very, very real. So why exactly are creators pouring money into it?
I was really into Smash, and that's how I started streaming, and I ended up earning a good amount of money. And there was a point in early 2020 before COVID where one of the largest Smash events, Genesis, one of the best players at the time, Zane, got dropped by his sponsor. And he was just looking for someone to help pay him to go to the event. And I did it without like this idea of a grand esports team, but just like, hey, I like Smash. You know, I want you to go without losing money. So I made this esports team and I called it Mogul Moves. And it was
and that's as simple as it was. That's like the crux of it right there. Hey, I like this hobby. I like watching it. Some of the best people in the world can't go and perform because they just don't got the money. So, hey, join my org and I'll pay for you and we'll make some sort of deal and we'll keep the industry going because, you know, I mean, it's a form of entertainment at the end of the day, much the same way as football, basketball. And honestly, just an opinion, you know, and you could examine it at a case-by-case type of deal. A lot of these games are probably have a little bit more competitive integrity than a lot of your traditional stick and ball sports, all right? I will always ask this question whenever you're watching your favorite sports or entertainment thing. What do you like? Would you rather be entertained, or would you rather have competitive integrity? Like 100% on both sides, but they're on polar opposite sides of the spectrum. Do you want to be entertained, or do you want competitive integrity? Who knows? Some people say one, some people say the other. A lot of the times, in most cases, it falls somewhere in the middle.
It was mostly a joke, and I bought him like Gucci shoes, and I made him wear it on stage.
He's outside of that grab into tipper range, so he's doing a beautiful job just maximizing where he's supposed to go. He's gonna do it again.
Oh,
and
shit.
Again. 89% save.
Get got.
Playing on fire right now. That was a mogul move.
That definitely was a mogul
That was a
move.
mogul
Shout out
move.
to Ludwig.
Shout out to Ludwig.
That's the only shout out I'll ever give to Ludwig in my life.
And it's definitely the highest my heart rate has been, I think, in the past 10 years. And I got into a motorcycle accident recently.
I'll give an update on my stream, but I get hit by a car while riding my Vespa. Luckily, I was wearing a helmet and a thick jacket, so I just got a few scrapes and bruises. Dressed for the slide, not for the ride.
That was lower because it was just like the tension of like a game 5 set where, you know, you have zero control outside of setting this person up for success by just trying to get him a nice hotel or whatever. And lo and behold, he won the event.
Damn.
Catch him with the up air, going real high.
Oh, that's gonna be insane. Takes Genesis.
Well, he jumping in the Gucci's.
That was just a great feeling that I was able to share with him. And I'll never be able to personally do it because I'm busy. But yeah, so, you know, I thought about it. I kind of toyed with the idea, but I was like, yeah, it's a money pit. And so actually Zane went off to sign to another team, and I backed out of esports.
Guys, we've been watching the coronavirus for weeks now, continuing to see the market action trade around.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You can't depend on other people to, you know, have your best interest in mind. The only person that will have your best interest in mind is you. You got to do what's best for you. So what's this? Stocks plunge amid that thing. Outbreak fears. Oh, down arrows, red arrows, down red arrows. Ooh, everything down.
Around the updates we get, but the coronavirus is also.
Oh, look at this, down percents, negative percents, minus numbers.
Also hitting esports.
Down red triangles. Oh my God. Look at all that red. It's like the doomsday of graphs. Oh, going from 28K, 28.8 to 28.3. Oh my God.
Sports.
The COVID pandemic hit esports hard, with events and tournaments forced online in a period of uncertainty. But online, the audience was bigger than ever. And a few years after Zane's run at Genesis 7, Ludwig got another chance to contribute to the scenes he loved.
I'm joining as the co-owner of Moist Esports, to which you might say, aren't you being dumb? Aren't you being a hypocrite? Isn't this how you're gonna burn all of your money? To which I say,
yes.
Maybe.
And I was like, okay, well, that would take the headache away of like the starting, you know, because like 0 to 1 in esports kind of sucks. And I'd also be sharing in this journey with a guy who's in a very similar situation to me. So it felt like a right fit, and that's why I started it.
But Ludwig had a tough job to do. The bottom line is, if you want to compete at the highest level of any esport, you have to win in convoluted tier 2 systems. And sometimes winning isn't even enough. He got to work, eventually signing an up-and-coming roster of Valorant pros with the help of FPS legend Sean Gares. Ludwig's dream was to roll through tier 2, working his way into the highly competitive Ascension tournament, and then the VCT. But in esports, things don't always go the way you plan. Meanwhile, Toast was learning that even a definitive win in Tier 2 isn't always enough to catapult an esports org forward.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. But like, what does he mean by like catapulting an esports org forward? In terms of what, like recognition, or just simply moving on to like the next tier of competition?
Winning challengers in North America was definitely a feather in Toast's cap, but it also didn't really change much for the fledgling organization. In League of Legends at the time, winning challengers,
yeah, I mean, especially with a logo that looks like it was done in MS Paint in 2 seconds. I mean, come on, guys, let's be real. Like, like who's clambering to buy a sweatshirt with this on it? No, like, I'm not trying to throw shade, but like, I don't even know how it goes. And you're trying to walk around in public with this? Like, let's take a step out of our bedrooms for a quick second.
Did not qualify you for the franchised LCS. Other than buying a spot after another team left, there was no way to work your way into Tier 1 in North America. So despite his success with no path to the LCS in sight, Toast threw most of his attention into Valorant.
I was watching every game, pretty much watched every scrim practice trials they had, just following along.
Holding on
That's
to
cool.
Cat. Holding on from behind that out.
So he just started becoming a fan.
Aftershock and now Scuba in a 1v1. Does he have any idea that there's a man back? Yeah. Has no idea. Disguised Toast has made it to challengers.
I was very excited, and I would say it was one of the best moments of my career, watching the team qualify, seeing
That's
how
pretty
happy
cool.
they are.
2v2. It's Clear and Nerve to try to hold this one back. Double nano swarms. One of the mollies has already been utilized. Neither one of the two nanos are on site. They're finally able to start defusing. The lockdown is done for. Bjork catches one. Clear with an angle. Can he actually take away Blackheart? Blackheart defusing.
Defenders win.
Mad Lions, hold on.
Dang.
And the dream for Disguised is over.
What a run there for Disguised as well. It's been a tough season for them overall, Upmind, with a lot of shuffling around on this roster.
The biggest thing was just team cohesion. We started losing a couple of times, and then we kind of created this culture of like every time there's a loss, wow, who are we eyeing next? And it made the players kind of scared, even under more pressure. So we were good, but I think we just didn't know.
Yeah, because I mean, it's probably to some degree kind of like that in like regular sports. I have no idea how like regular sports works. Like with like the draft and shit like that. I mean, every time the NFL draft comes around, all my buddies are like, "Oh, I'm getting psyched for the draft. I'm getting psyched for fantasy." And like, "Oh, what new like fledgling collegiate players are gonna be starting their NFL career in the NFL or whatever." And it's like, oh, who's gonna stay? Who's gonna sign another contract? Who's going to get kicked? All this stuff. Or if like I think what was it in the case of like Mahomes, didn't he sign like a 10-year contract for like his little quarterback thing, and it was like $100 million or some shit like that? I'm like, damn, that's crazy. 10 million every year for 10 years? Dang. And you gotta perform. 10 years of like, you gotta be on your A game. That's crazy. But you know, it's like if a team doesn't even perform like well within a season of any game, it's like roster mania, or just get dropped and you can't even get in there again until like you show up, because I don't know, I think it's just harder to like, I don't know, how do you say this? It's harder to like be an outlier in a video game, especially FPS. Because like just what is required of you. It's crazy. Like the overarching theme of most FPSs is to essentially be able to predict what your opponent is going to do. Probably much the same way as like in real sports. You know, you want to figure out your opponent's habits and whatnot, but it's just the fine motor skills that like is required of you. And on top of it, you got nerves. Like you're shaking, like your hand starts shaking and shit. It's like, oh, I can't fucking aim, guys. Like if you're shaking in football or whatever, I mean, what do you got to do? Well, you got to catch a football. That's like your whole body. You use your whole body. All right. In FPS or any video game with like mouse and keyboard, it's like you have to be able to like control every little thing that's going on in your arm.
How to handle losses very well, and it kind of just was never able to recover and snowballed.
And so ultimately, after investing more than $1 million into his Valorant and
What's this dude doing down here? Cosplaying as like Nick Merckx with his forehead cam?
League teams, only to be relegated from the Challenger League in North America, Toast moved his efforts to Southeast Asia, signing a team based in Singapore. And this time, it was enough.
And now it's down onto Jensen's shoulders. A 1-on-4. Almost impossible to ask. Juicy's here. He cleans it up. A very decisive win.
We're going to Ascension. Well done.
Dang.
Well done to all the players. There was a sense of expectation that they would, because if this is quote unquote the Singapore super team, then you're expected to win your region by a good margin.
Now, before we jump into them more, I want to reintroduce this guy's Toast, our Singapore squad.
It was definitely more nerve-wracking. The competition was higher. Just the first time traveling to an Ascension event, playing on LAN. Because in Singapore, you don't get to play on LAN for your finals. In the other regions, most of them have a LAN event. So for a lot of them, it's the first time playing in person. A lot of superstition starts kicking in. It's like, oh, you know, I was sitting like this when we won, and I was sitting like that when we lost. I'm going to sit like this.
I mean, like, I guess this is a thing. Like in sports or whatever, like my lucky pair of underwear when I won the game, or my lucky socks or whatever in sports. Like, come on, guys. Are we not at least like adults to be playing off of like stupid superstitions?
This, and maybe that'll make a difference. You know, a lot of DSG's future rides on the success of these games, right? And the players know that. So it's just stress. It's just stress. It's just nothing but stress and hope and pain and jubilation when they win. It's a roller coaster. It's just the reality. Esports don't.
I mean, it's probably the same way in real sports. It's the same thing with basketball. Baseball, soccer, football. I mean, everybody has nerves and gets nervous. People choke all the time. People make fumbles in the Super Bowl. People like whiff catches and miss throws and shit like that at the playoffs. It just happens.
Make money. Only, I would say, 1 out of 10 esports org makes money. It's very unfortunate. It's definitely becoming more of a passion thing, and it's a hard ask for players to kind of like give up their youth to chase a dream that has such a low chance of paying off.
Now, since the end of the 2024 season, a few things have changed for Toast. His League of Legends team has been granted a guest spot in the reformed LCS, now LTA, so he'll finally have a spot in a Tier 1 league. But he's also stepping away from his SEA Valorant team despite their success last year, since Riot has announced that they won't be allowed to stream their games on any platform other than Soup. And Toast...
Wait, what? As of today, DSG will be exiting Valorant Challenger League SEA with Riot's recent partnership with Soup for the C League. The exclusivity clause prevents co-streaming on other platforms. Oh, so they're trying to do the NFL thing. So as it is right now in NFL, like the only way to watch it is through like whatever channel is, what is it, like ESPN? That's the only channel that you can watch it from. And like if you're trying to like stream the NFL, like it's gonna cost you like an arm, a leg, your left kidney, your right kidney, like a chamber of your heart. You know, it's gonna cost you like your left eye. It's gonna cost you your hairline or whatever. It costs everything just to like try to get a partnership deal to like, I don't even think they do that anymore. Like to watch the NFL.
Riot has announced that they won't be allowed to stream their games on any platform.
But we will see. Like, how recent was this? Was this like this year that this happened, or like just last year? So I'd be curious to see like what numbers they're gonna get because this will be the test to see how vigilant Valorant watchers are in wanting to see like the best teams in the world. This will be the test.
Other than Soup. And Toast isn't the only one who's been struggling with the brutal highs and lows of esports.
I mean, it's all or nothing. I think it's a pretty flawed system, you know, but I guess it makes it more sweet if you qualify, but it's also more heartbreaking if you lose.
I definitely think at this moment's time, Challengers is kind of disappointing at the moment, just because there's no incentive for orgs to actually invest into the Challengers, especially with it being such a gauntlet. Like, it's actually like cruel.
You're choosing a career that is extremely competitive, like choosing to be an actor or a musician, right? The employment rate in these fields.
It's kind of funny that he referenced actor and musician. Also, entertainment. Both of those would fall under entertainment style forms of like trying to engage in the income aspect of it. So yeah, at the end of the day, sports isn't really real. It's just all entertainment. Acting is entertainment. It's all to be entertained. Are you not entertained?
Feels like 0.1%. The same thing is true for organizations. You need to.
Yeah, people only want to see the top people play their thing of any hobby, of any sport, or whatever. People are only interested in who gets to wear the #1 headband, who gets to bring home that big ass trophy that is bigger than them or whatever. They want that fat ring that's like weighing their hand down or whatever, okay? That's what people want to see. They don't want to see Joe Schmo and his little underdog story and the come up and like, oh, he got beat down by a big boy whatever team. No. People want to see the best of the best.
To come into something like Challengers, and you need to have a plan on how you're gonna survive and how you're gonna exist in the space. And what we've seen in the past couple of years, there's really only two ways to make it work. One, you either have deep pockets and you're willing to make a big bet because you're looking at ascending as that big payoff, or you run a scrappy, creative, small team with a small infrastructure, small footprint. The idea of coming into Challengers and spending a lot of money, hoping to make a lot of money, is just not realistic, and it's not gonna work. So teams need to really adjust how they are operating.
Looking at this Moist Moguls roster, this team is on the rise even higher than they've gone already. Now they're here in playoffs, and they're coming off of a dominant group stage run.
Plant cannot come through, though. Not immediately. Orbital Strike gonna get called in. That's all used over towards lamp side. Jonah P, he's been a playmaker for his squad. Tries to deal with the barrier orb. Is this the moment? Spike's still not planted yet. It will come down, though, eventually. Trent doesn't stop it in time. Down to Brock. 1v2. Both players gonna swing this likely together. There's the challenge! Bang! Brock gets both! And it's
Your clutch is brought to you by eBay. What the fuck? There's like ads mid-match. I mean, I guess so. But like, you look at the Super Bowl and is it the same thing? Like, I've never really paid attention. Maybe I should pay attention or something for like all this shit. I did not notice that until just now. Like, does the Super Bowl, like, it has to have like this is your Super Bowl replay brought to you by Tide Pods or Ford F-150. Go buy a truck.
an eBay clutch for Moist Moguls to strike down the guard and make it to the winners finals.
Yeah, so the reality is we were the best team going in by record. Not only were we the best going in, we won. We made it to winners finals. And then we went up against M80, which we knew would be tough, and we lost. And then we get eliminated.
No mistakes. No mistakes in this post plant. It's already been tapped once. That's a big kill. He saw the second. Sim needs something else here, and he's not gonna get it.
Which was tough, man. It was tough, because like we were one game away from making it to the Ascension tournament twice. And lost both.
So That
Ludwig's
sucks.
team came painfully close to making it to the Ascension tournament in 2023. Right now in Valorant, that's the only way for an up-and-coming team to make it into Tier 1. The system is brutal, and falling just short twice was a blow. But it was also clear that his team had potential. So heading into 2024, they made some changes. They had a chance to be acquired by Shopify, who have started to put some serious money into esports.
Oh.
Ludwig joined up with the same man who helped.
There's another big heavy hitter in esports, and it's called Big Boy Dubai. But, you know, a lot of people are actually against Big Boy Dubai having a hand in esports.
Him sign his team in the first place, Sean Gares, and they called this new org Moist X Shopify. And after several roster changes, they went into 2024 with big expectations. But that season wound up feeling eerily similar, and once again, they fell just short of making it to Ascension.
A 4v4 Rolling Thunder Hunter's Fury waiting for a sound.
Yeah, for some reason, over the last month, I've seen like random teams just like with the Shopify in their name. Like, what the fuck is Shopify?
Q, but it's Fly and it's Rolling Thunder that comes out first, and no one checks the corner under pressure. It's Sim yet again, and now it's only Flya, and it's a 4K from Sim to send Moist Shopify out of playoffs. TSM ascend.
But Ludwig's attitude was different after 2 years of almosts.
At the end of the day, I found out through that first year that's more important than maybe this like far-fetched goal of mine is like setting up these kids, man, like, you know, teens, early 20s, like these young pro players' careers to be the best careers they can be, and like setting them up right, you know, making sure they're in a good situation, they're playing well, and then they're also like taking care of themselves. I grew much more attached to the individuals than I maybe would have expected going in. For me, like MXM was very secondary to like, you know, I mean, back then it was like Flya and a Proto and Brock and all the guys. So if one has a bad game, it's like, I hope he feels confident still. I hope he still thinks he's the shit, because he should.
Moist X Shopify and Disguise, like it's definitely like God's work. Like they are putting in a lot of money to just kind of develop the scene. And obviously there's no like real incentive to it. You don't really get rewarded for it, but it definitely is really good.
It's not like a direct like return. The only way is like brand recognition. Like I would imagine it's like, oh, Moist, oh, I know that's from Moist Critical, that's Charlie. Oh, Disguised Toast, DSG, oh, he's still a thing. Oh, Mogul Moves, oh, that's Ludwig's. I mean, that's brand recognition. That's about it.
For the scene, and it does help like all these really young talented players develop.
Now the question is, are we now taking too much time away from these players, like Mata, who was #1 player in Challengers, if you ask any player in Challengers, from expanding his career, from going to the next level, right? After this year, I was totally hands off, and I let them field as many Tier 1 offers as possible, because I understand it's unfair to the guys to not let them explore the best career path for them possible.
NRG announced their roster.
Good guy Ludwig letting his team go, and possibly being picked up from like other Tier 1 orgs. That is commendable.
They've added Mata, who's been kind of a demon in Tier 2 for quite a while. Everything seems lovely there.
Esports is a tough industry. It's brutal, it wears you down, it's competitive, it's expensive, and sometimes it feels like it's impossible to succeed. But it's also a place where fans and gamers can feel connected, part of something bigger. At the end of the day, that's a big part of what we do every day. It's probably a big part of why you're watching. And for big creators, some of that connection is built in. Ludwig and Toast aren't the only ones to have noticed that. In Europe, Cadril is months into running his own League of Legends team. It's early days, but hey, the Baus solo killed Faker. And huge organizations like Carmine Corp and Movistar Koi have their origins with creators too. Ibai, Kameto, and Prime just got started a little earlier, but today they have thousands of fans who are happy to fill stadiums and cheer for their teams. Look, esports wouldn't exist without a lot of work, but it takes a lot of passion too. And there's a good chance that your favorite creators are where they are because they started out by loving something.
Yep, I remember that one.
In much the same way. So maybe it's not crazy that they're the ones stepping up and investing in the spaces they love, even if the return on that investment might not be there yet. Can streamers overcome all the problems facing the industry as a whole? Of course not. But they might be able to get some new fans to start watching, and whatever esports looks like in a few years' time, one thing is never going to change. We need fans, exciting and vibrant communities. We need people to laugh and cry and cheer. That's what it's all about. It's all about you.
I mean, yeah, but like, seemingly everything seems so fleeting when it comes to like esports in general, because a game is only as good as its last patch. You know, yes, you know, the real sports kind of goes through something similar, but not as drastic as like a patch that just changes the meta of a game. Like real sports, like you're not really changing the meta of real sports. The only real meta is like for basketball. Like people are shooting more 3-pointers, and that leads to highly inflated scores, and just like people are like the overall gameplay loop of basketball is just like you know, people just letting you know, players like shoot from way behind the 3 because the bet is that they're not gonna be able to sink it, so they're not gonna cover them as heavily as they would if they, you know, were to move up closer to the rim. So with that what that creates is like more people just practice more and more on shooting 3s unchecked, and it's like, okay, it's like 130 to like 133, so it's like, and then it's just a back and forth, and it's kind of, from what I would imagine or from what I see, it's like super inflated scores in basketball are like kind of boring to watch. You know, with people just going back and forth shooting 3s, so whatever. The meta with baseball is pitchers just throwing faster and faster every year. And with that, it makes it so that baseball is not fun to watch, with less and less batters getting hits, less and less action happening on the field. That's about the only meta that I can see. With football, I mean, I haven't really seen like a meta shift in football besides, you know, changing the rules of you know, you can't really rough the quarterback or whatever anymore. There's so many like rule changes. Well, there's kind of like, there was another rule change with like how kickoffs are received or something. It's like there's like a zone, like the kickoff team can't start running until the dude catches the ball, because, you know, there were so many like injuries and shit like that. And like kickoffs are just so boring and milk toast now. It's like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is so boring. What else? Like outside of that, there's not like a lot of meta changes. Like when a video game doesn't have a lot of meta changes, it gets boring and stale and stagnant. When a real sport doesn't have a lot of meta changes, it becomes more competitive, it has more competitive integrity, and the players like that. But I mean, from what I've seen, whenever there's like a meta shift in real sports, it's like it's for player safety or whatever. And I don't know, the crowds and the audiences don't really, like, people are just like bored of it. I mean, I guess it's the same. Whenever your favorite sport or video game, the meta is defined, and your sport or video game starts to get stale and stagnant, you just become bored of it. So because of that, you need to mix up rules, or update the patch, update the game, update the rule set for whatever, and you need to make a new meta. I mean, maybe real sports is kind of catching on to try to change it up a little bit, try to bring in some new people or whatever for their sport. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. It's hard to do anything with esports, dude. It just is. But overall, cool video. Yeah, more content, more big wig content creators need to like get in on esports if they like value anything in esports in terms of like entertainment. I mean, whatever. But yeah, it is what it is, man. But overall, cool video. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.